What's going on, guys? Ahmed here, back with another video. Here to give you all the official review of Conway's new project, Pain Provided Profit. Conway is a Buffalo rapper, a part of the Griselda clique, known for his lyrical ability and storytelling, and dropped what I believe was the best album of last year coming out of New York with God Don't Make Mistakes. And so I was very excited going into this new project. Conway is an extraordinarily consistent artist who surprisingly drops a lot of music. And so when I saw that he was going to be rolling out a new album, I was pretty interested. Single that he dropped, Super Bowl. I didn't made a reaction, but I didn't end up dropping it. Wasn't a big fan of the song, but thankfully that didn't end up on the album. And he ended up dropping a collab tape with Jay Ski, who I've never heard of before. But I got to get to know, and you will get to know by listening to this tape. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Overall, my thoughts on this track list, it was very, very, very good. I really enjoyed it. I was pretty impressed with Jay Ski, especially because he really delivered some of the most intense lyrical escapades I have ever seen in my entire life. Super, super impressive from him. Conway, of course, did his typical thing as well. Really beefed up the rhyme schemes on this one, too. I noticed from Conway. Super, super strong project from both of them. And I feel like so far, I think this decade, this is probably the best collab album from this decade. I know that Voice of the Heroes and Her Loss came out, but for me, I think that from an objective standpoint, this is probably the best collab project. With that being said, let's get straight into it. Writing was a perfect. And this is interesting because it's, if you recall, I also gave God Don't Make Mistakes a perfect. And this is a very different kind of perfect, right? I think that this is a shorter project, only 7 songs. And so really, I think that where this problem really strives is the technicals. Of course, you have Conway and Jay Skis giving their customary complete view and opinion on the streets, which is so incredible. The way that they're able to go in depth on all the different realities and struggles that they've gone through is so incredible to watch. And the way that they're able to package it, whether it be the motivational messages and the inspirational messages versus the sort of dark, gritty reality that they complement with certain beats, to even the fun that they have coming away from that life. It's all so deep and like groundbreaking, but and complete, most importantly. But the technicals on this album, the rhyme schemes were nuts, especially from Jay Skis. The bars, bro, the bars were insane. Some stuff I haven't even caught yet, which is super, super incredible to see. Conway, his technicals, you know, when he's coming out with a full-length album, they're not always on full display. But when he gets these like mixtape opportunities, I really notice that he really comes through and hammers home with these double entendres and this wordplay. There was a point when Jay Skis flipped capital like 3 times. It was absolutely insane to listen to. And unlike the other technical rappers out right now, such as maybe Eminem or Dex, it wasn't so overly, annoying or with a weird flow or like dad humor or whatever. It was really just like straight to the punch bars with that fed into the subject matter, right? And that's always the most important thing, is you want your bars to feed into what you're talking about. And this did that to such a high degree, and that was so incredible to watch. The rhyme schemes, like I said, were amazing. And really, I feel like while this album doesn't have as much diversity from a writing standpoint as, say, God Don't Make Mistakes did, I feel like it doesn't really suffer as much because it's a shorter record, right? And so I feel like on this project, these two guys just really wanted to come together and test their pen out. And they really, really did that. And on a 7-song album, you really get to do stuff like that. And for me personally, like I said, even though there wasn't as much diversity within the writing from song to song, I do feel like that's not much of a mark against them because of how short the track list is. And there were still different themes across each song. It just, a lot of songs could, I feel like, be summed up in a few words. A lot of songs I feel like from a subject matter wise, like kind of bled into each other. which is why I do give that critique. But still, it doesn't really take away from the album listening experience because it's so short. Production and creativity, I'm going to go with a great on this one. I would initially going to give it amazing because I think the production is absolutely incredible. But I think I'm a little bit disappointed on the specifically like the collaboration aspect. Obviously, the two have a lot of chemistry, but I feel like they don't really cover any new ground, which was a bit disappointing. Both of them are just super lyrical guys who, do their thing over incredible beats, which whoever produced this album is nuts. Every single beat was incredible, start to finish. The sonics, the original sounds that were coming from this project were super dope, super eerie on a lot of tracks, super dark and like menacing, but even some songs that were a bit hopeful, which was also nice to see. Really enjoyed the diversity of the production on this album. Super dope. But like I was saying, I do feel like it was a bit disappointing to kind of feel like like I said, were just two lyrical guys who didn't really, I feel like, expand on what they already knew. Conway, of course, kind of leveled up his rhyme schemes from God Don't Make Mistakes, but it's not like he hadn't already had projects like La McQueen where he was very cool with the double entendre. So it's not like Conway being more lyrical is like a new height that he's being pushed to from Jay Ski. And so overall, I feel like with collab albums, I really like to see something that's greater than some of their parts. And I feel like I didn't really get that on this project. And so that's why overall the creativity and the production is just a great for me. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. In terms of the features, there weren't that many features on here, but the woman, oh my God, the rhyme schemes, bro. I'm trying to tell you, I gotta listen to this album and really pay attention to how many words that everybody is rhyming. From the internal schemes to the end rhymes, it's super dope. The way that they're able to put stuff together. And the woman on this one was no different. I think her name is like 7 something. It's a weird like batch of characters. And so that was that. But it was really interesting to kind of just watch her go about talking about her experiences and matching the intensity from a lyrical and rhyme scheme perspective to these other people. And the other guy, he I believe it was on the last song, Food, he came and he actually a little bit more of an interesting voice, a lot more raspy. He sounded a bit more older and definitely came with an older perspective, as if he was sort of talking about experiences that were far removed from where he was at the current moment. It was a super interesting and different perspective from the other people on the record. There weren't many features on here, so this perfect doesn't really affect the overall rating too much, but I just wanted to say that these features were definitely highlights and definitely added. However, I will say that similar to a lot of features on Griselda albums, besides West Side Gun, I do kind of feel like these features, they're great, but they don't add something to the record. I feel like the features for the most part cover the ground of what's already been done. Features, I'm going to give an amazing. I feel like they don't really cover much new ground. I mean, what they do is not dissimilar from what Conway does. And so similar to the issue I had with Tana Talk 4, I don't really feel like these features were like really necessary or warranted, if that makes sense. And so overall, that if there was any slight problem I have with the features, it would be that. Overall flows were great, and this is something that's pretty interesting. I feel like Conway's flows actually got a little bit better between this and God Don't Make Mistakes and his other projects, because I feel like he's experimenting with quicker flows. He's really emphasizing those rhyme schemes when he hits those pockets. And it's really interesting to watch. Jay Skis also had a dope set of flows that I really enjoyed. Of course, with Griselda, a lot of the time, besides West Side Gun, their flows do get repetitive, which is why this will probably be the weakest portion of the record, besides one other thing that I'm going to talk about. But I will say I do feel like there was a definite improvement in their flows that I noticed. The only other thing is I feel like Conway, because he doesn't have as much lyrical diversity, the delivery doesn't change as much as I was kind of hoping, or as much as I've seen on other projects, which is why, even though I feel like his literal tempo is better than God Don't Make Mistakes, I don't think I'm going to overall give it a better rating, because the diversity in flows wasn't there as much. The diversity, in, I should say, in delivery wasn't really there as much for this album. And so finally we get to musical execution, and this was good. I feel like if you like boom bap rap, if you like lyrical rap, if you like hardened street rap from the 90s and 2000s, you will really enjoy this album. But me personally, especially with there being such a severe lack of any fun, sticky choruses on here, there wasn't really a lot for me to download and put on my playlist. And this is just me speaking personally. And I feel like that also kind of holds the record back from, really being like a replayable, like super fun album. Still, though, I give it a good because I'm still gonna definitely come back to certain beats, and I'm still gonna definitely come back to certain lines that I really liked from certain songs. But overall, again, the lack of enjoyable choruses on this project was definitely felt, which is why I only give the musical execution a good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it a great. I think it's earned that distinction, especially with the writing on this project being as strong as it is. And Conway really going all out with giving this complete picture of the streets. I feel like that's something that needs to be, commended, and is definitely the most noticeable highlight, most notable portion of this album. And when your most notable portion is a positive one, I definitely feel like that works in your favor. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed this record. Let me know what you all thought of it in the comment section below. With that being said, peace, y'all.